Maximizing love.
Meeting marital needs with the 5 love languages. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. This power couple is building stronger marriages one day at a time. Talking about real issues on love, relationships, and marriage longevity. Let's break down the barriers and engage in healthy conversation with your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie. Take a seat and buckle up because things are about to get real.
Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast, live conversations. I'm your co-host, Jason, along with my beautiful wife, Tina Marie.
And I'm so excited. Can you guys hear me? I'm so excited.
Yeah, we are.
We made it through another week.
It's all festive. Look at us in the studio. I mean, we're looking good. We're feeling good.
That's right.
You know what? This is what life is all about. Having a mate that you're in love with, that you can prosper with, that you can continually fall in love with. This is what we're trying to teach you all. This is what we're trying to show couples. This is what we're trying to coach couples in.
All right. So I'm excited because life is worth living. It's wonderful.
Because you're married to me, baby.
Because I'm married to you.
All right.
All right. So we are going to get into tonight's conversation after Jason welcomes you to the channel.
All right. So you know where to find us. If you don't, we're everywhere on social at Legendary Relationship and here on YouTube at Legendary Relationship. Or you can hit us up on our website at legendaryrelationship.com.
All right. So we want to make sure that the purpose of our channel is to help couples to not only survive in relationships and marriage, but to thrive. Thriving is totally something different. We can survive in anything. But when we put forth the effort to understand each other, to understand what it takes to have good relationships, then we can thrive. Then we can wake up each morning and look over at the other person and say, thank you, God, more please.
Oh, yes.
More of the good days, more of the good times, more of the happy and joyous occasions that we go through, right?
That's right.
All right. So
that's
tonight,
what I do when I look over at you.
Do you? Thank you. Thank you. So remember, this channel is all about, let me turn.
Yep.
Being in it to win it. All right. So let's start off. So relationships require continuous work. That's what we said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as we dive into the 5 love languages, we are going to explain the definition of what they are. Then we're going to give you some examples so that you know how to express them. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to
give them some don'ts.
Give you some don'ts. I just wanted to make sure you could hear me because sometimes I'm further. I'm good? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So the first love language we're going to talk about is the acts of service. And what is that? So this is for individuals whose love language actions speak louder than words. They feel loved when others perform acts of service for them, like doing chores or helping with tasks. So when we talk about a love language and it's acts of service, it's not them doing it for you. It's you doing it for them.
Okay.
That's their love language.
So it would be my love language if it was acts of service, but you would provide the services in which I would like for you to provide.
I provide services so that you can feel love. So the whole purpose of love languages is to speak your mate's love language so that they feel loved. Right. So we talked about like the car and the gas tank when it's empty. Well, when your love tank is empty in your relationship, you have nothing to give. You no longer want to keep going, or you don't feel as though you're loved. Right. So when you're on a full tank, right, when your love tank is full,
you have miles to go.
You got miles to go. You have plenty to give, to share, to even extend to those who you may not even usually extend it to. So that's what we're talking about. So let's give some examples
let's get into it.
Some of the acts of service. So you can ask, if your mate's love language is acts of service, you can ask, what can I do to make your day better?
I like that.
Right?
Start your day off like, what can I do to make your day better? I love that.
So if we get into the rut of every day, getting up, getting ready, go to work, we do the same thing over and over. Just think how your mate would feel loved just out of the blue. You say, what can I do for you today? They're probably going to say, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Right. You feeling okay?
Right. So another one is to complete a house project that has been on their list for a long time.
Now, when I first looked at that, I read it as cleaning a house. I'm like, whoa, you talking about cleaning the whole house?
Right. So it says completing a project, a house project,
okay.
right? Which means that usually we say, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to get to it. And when your mate's love language is acts of service and you tell them, you're going to get to it, and you never do, that's just something that they carry around with them as seeming as though you don't really care because you never got to it. And that may not even be the case, but that's how a person who has the love language is act, that's how they perceive it. All right, so the next thing is make the bed if you typically don't. So if your mate's love language is acts of service and you get up and you make the bed, sometimes I look over at the bed and I will intentionally make up my side.
Yep. And I go, oh, wow, she made up her side. I mean,
it doesn't even encourage you. And acts of service is not my love language, but I'm just saying I usually do it just to encourage you to do it.
Yeah. Mine's ready to get back in. I mean, you'd have to pull your covers down. Mine's already down. But hey.
All right. So how about little things like mating the socks?
Yep.
Could you imagine if your love language was acts of service and your mate came
and you took on
the task of mating the socks? Who likes to mate socks?
Those mounds of socks that you can't find the mate to?
Why? Why can't? Because what?
Because the sock monster ate them in the dryer.
Somehow between the laundry basket and taking them, put them back in the laundry basket, you end up with one sock.
Yes.
Right? You're like, where's the sock? So you just toss them over to the side. But just think if that were my language, right? And I came home and I saw you mating the socks, I would just be like, wow.
Yep.
It's the little things sometimes. We talk about that all the time. It's the little things. Or let's see, make their favorite meal.
Yeah.
If you know how.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Sometimes, the thought don't count if it's nasty. Yeah. So maybe you should make.
You don't even get an A for effort?
No. So maybe you should make their favorite meal that they like for you to make. Something that you know how to make, right?
I got it.
Or have lunch delivered to their work, to their office, to their job.
Yeah.
Just imagine, I think about these things and how little things can tell your mate that you love them. Right. So if I was at work and I received lunch and I'm like, well, where did this come from? And then I saw it was from my mate. Like, I'll be like, oh, well, we have to think beyond what goes on every day. We have to take the effort and the energy to kind of do something different if we really want to make our relationships work.
And you know what? That's a stress reliever, right? Because a lot of times we were contemplating, where are we going to go for lunch? What are we going to do?
That is true.
So you're thinking about this. You're thinking about the task. I really don't have time to go out and get lunch. So it just adds more stress to your day. But now someone delivers lunch. That feels excellent. So I'm thinking like, wow, that would be great. Lunch shows up. And day continues to go on. Yep. You don't have to think about it.
And now you have set the stage for the evening. So now they feel loved. They're warm. They're appreciative. You may get a call. You know what I'm saying? It's like a totally different. We got to do things different. We got to change the monotony of how we.
Oh, sure. Our day to day. Sure.
Yeah, how we have built our relationships where it's just a rut.
Right.
It's a routine. You know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, you need to disrupt that a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. So here are some acts of service things that you should not do. So
shouldn't do.
Should not. Exactly. Because when
don't do these.
So usually when we hear acts of service, the first thing we think is that I'm going to do something that I think they would like.
Right.
Right. And so we have to understand that doesn't always work out. So here are some things that you should not do if your mate's love language is acts of service. And that is make more work for them.
So if I decide I want to cook something for you,
exactly,
and I mess up the kitchen while I'm cooking your meal, we eat, and then I leave a big mess.
That is not. That
doesn't work.
That is not speaking their love language.
Okay.
So person whose acts of service is their love language, they do not want you to leave more work than before. This language usually wants things added. They want it, a step up. So if it's good, they want you to come and perfect it, or they want you to do more. They want things to be better, not worse.
Sure.
Right? All right. So another thing you shouldn't do is broken commitments, just like we just said, right?
Yeah, that's true. If you commit to it, you should try not to break it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Which means
your whole thing is to fix things, right? Acts of service. I'm going to do the things that I'm saying I'm going to do.
I wouldn't say fix things, but to do something.
Oh, well, to do things. Right.
Actually,
you're trying to, when I say do things, you're trying to fix your relationship and become closer,
okay, that
right?
makes, right.
Not fix things, but fix your relationship. Just you guys are on the same level.
Right.
And if you start to break your commitments, so
if I say I'm going to go fill up your gas tank, and then I say, oh, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to do it. Yeah. That defeats the whole purpose.
Yep.
That defeats the whole purpose. So,
especially if the person that needed the acts of service needs to get in the car the next day and there's no gas in it.
Yeah. And I would recommend in that is that if you are a person that cannot stick to your commitments, then don't make the commitment. Sure. Just do it.
Right.
Right. Don't say I'm going to.
Right.
I would just do it. Right. Or
I think it's best. I think it's best because
surprisingly,
yes,
right? To make it more of a surprise.
I think it feels more
genuine
to the person. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you took time out of your day. You thought enough about me, and you did this particular task.
Well, I'm just
I appreciate that.
Exactly. Like, let's just think you and I are out all day, and I know sometimes I would do that. Right. You're ripping and running. Your car is low, and if I know I'm going to go out, I would take your car and just fill it up. So the next morning, you're like, oh wow, my gas. And that makes you feel loved. Right. And that's the whole purpose.
Oh, you know me very well because I'm always on E.
That is true too. Right. So it makes speaking your mate's love language, the whole intention behind it is to understand how they want to receive love and then to be able to show up and show that type so that you can continually fill up their love tank so that we can now, once we have a basis and the groundwork for what we're doing, now we can move to the next stage. If an issue comes up, now we have love and we can tackle the problem instead of trying to tackle problems and issues running on empty.
Right.
Because then, irritation sets in real easy.
Right, yeah.
That finger pointing, the blame game. So many things come up when our love tanks are empty. That can be avoided because when we're feeling love, it makes us look through a different perspective and a different lens, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So let's get on to the next one here.
Oh, wait. Yep. Oh. The next one is not being willing to help out.
Ooh.
If your mate's love language is acts of service and you're not willing to help out,
wow,
their love tank is empty.
Yep.
It is no question about it. And you're wondering why they're not giving you back the love that you think. You're like, what's wrong with them?
Yeah.
Because you're not willing to help out.
Wow.
And sometimes I know we've talked about in the past how in relationships, especially in marriage, we start off one way, right? We start off gun ho. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Oh, everything is fine, right? I'm going to help out. I'm going to chip in. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to be helpful.
As time goes on, you do less and less and less. And then it becomes a burden for one person.
Sure.
And then when they express it, it's out of anger and resentment because they feel like they're overwhelmed. But then when you're not willing to work to help out, that just makes it, it takes to a whole new level of.
So if your mate's language is acts of service, just if you decide you want to do something, just make sure that you're committed to it.
You're committed and that you're doing it and you're willing to help out.
And you're willing to help out.
So another thing not to do is acting burdened while helping. So if
how long we got to do this?
Right.
How long?
Exactly.
How long this going to take?
Right. Would you help me do this? And you'd be like, well, do you need it now? Well, how long? Exactly.
You said 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. Are we done yet?
Or you're doing it, but you're doing it with a nasty attitude.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
Right.
So we have to understand that not just performing the thing, but doing the thing for love because you're actually doing it out of the love of your mate.
Right.
So that's what we really have to get over. The whole purpose of understanding our mate's love language is to give and receive love in the manner in which that person needs and which you need. When someone speaks your love language, it makes you feel loved and appreciated. And that's really the basis of a relationship, unconditional love.
That's what we want, unconditional love.
Absolutely.
You want to feel love in your relationship with the person that you're in love with.
Yep. All right. So our next love language is what?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Oh,
and what is that?
How wonderful. Words of affirmation. People with this love language value verbal expression of love, such as compliments, encouragement, and kind words.
Wow.
Kind words.
Kind words.
Yes.
And I think even if your love language isn't words of affirmation, because some people really do need that, words of affirmation, I think kind words are just nice anyway. Sometimes we all just need to hear a kind word.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You get more bees with honey.
Than with
Then honey. I mean, if you're not using honey,
then with vinegar.
I don't know. You ain't gonna get much for vinegar.
Right. So you get more bees with honey than with vinegar. At least that's the saying that I've heard.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right. So here are some examples of words of affirmation. I miss you. Okay, that's cool. That's nice to say.
Yeah.
It's nice to be missed.
It is. It is nice to be missed.
Yeah.
I know you often ask me that sometimes. When
you miss me? Right. You go like, were you gone? Yes, I was gone. I was gone for a long time.
I like to mess with you.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. I'm glad you do.
And so in that case, I would like to say, when you ask me those questions, I say, well, did you miss me?
Right.
Because sometimes you may miss me, but you want me to say it first. So I always say, if you miss me, just say, honey, I missed you. Then say, did you miss me?
Okay.
I think that because then you're telling me first. You're giving me the words of affirmation.
Right.
Instead of me needing to give it to you first. Right? That kind of, but either way.
I like that. Right? I see. But I got hip to your game. I know how it works.
Okay.
The other one is your support means the world to me.
I could see someone, who's words of affirmation.
And you know what? Sometimes we may feel that way.
Right.
But we won't express that.
That's true. That's true. Because we're not used to giving each other compliments.
Exactly. Sometimes it's hard. For some people, I know we've had conversation and sessions with people, and that's just hard for people to say.
And that's where it goes back to their background, their upbringing, what they've experienced. And sometimes people who need words of affirmation, they didn't get that growing up. So that's why they need it as an adult. And it's not always the case, but that's most of the time it is. They want to feel valued. They want to feel loved in that way that they matter.
Yes.
And so words of affirmation are very important to people who may have been neglected as a child, right? Where they didn't really feel seen or valued. And so it's really important to them. And saying that you're important to me and being able to express that to someone could really, really, mean the world to them.
I'm sure it does.
Could shift a lot. Just
actually, it feels good when I was shown a lot of love as a child. And it feels good to me when someone's giving me words of affirmation.
It does. And even though, like I said, lots of times it's not even your love language, but just receiving a compliment sometimes is a lot. You go, oh, wow. It really does make you feel valued.
Yeah.
Because people don't have to say it. But in relationships, if it's your love language, I think it needs to be said. And when you find out that that's your mate's love language, and if you're the mate that it's hard to express it, then you have to start small. Right. You have to start somewhere to feel comfortable with giving compliments.
Right.
Because, again, it's maybe our background where we don't even know how to give compliments. So we just start small. I missed you. I appreciate you. Right? Things like that. That's very true.
Okay. Yep. What we got over there? We got any comments?
All right. Let's take a break for comments. The commentator.
Thank you guys for going over the love languages again. It was a great review and deeper understanding.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy Smith. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching last week's episode. And now you can come back this week and get a deeper understanding. Thank you. Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on, family? Glad that you are tuning in.
Yes.
We love you. We love all of you. Thank you for tuning in. We love and appreciate each and every one of our viewers.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one?
So I just want to make a comment real quick.
Sure.
So one of our regulars, Dennis, he actually sent us a message this morning. He said that his work schedule has changed. So he was pretty bummed about that because he's on every Friday live. And so he said he was going to try to jump on to speak to the fam. So I said, I hope he gets an opportunity. So I just wanted to let everybody know Dennis is out there, but he's at work. That's why he's not tuning in.
But he's catching a replay.
That's
and I
right.
do appreciate it.
He's catching a replay. He said he appreciates all of the good insight into the relationships, and that has really helped his relationship and shifted his life. So that's a wonderful thing. All right.
All right, so the next one we have here says, I hope you know how much you mean to me.
Yeah, I can see how that would definitely make you feel loved.
Yeah. And, like I said, a lot of times we feel this way, but we don't express it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love you. And we may end it with that. Like, yeah, I said I love you. I love you. But we may not go any deeper and saying, like, you mean the world to me. You don't know how much you really mean to me.
And I think if we take a moment to really understand how short life can be, that we really would express this to our mates more often.
Sure.
How much they mean to us. Yeah. I was actually, and if a person's love language is words of affirmation, we want you to understand that you could probably never give them enough compliments. So
Sure.
I just happened to be scrolling through social media and they were playing that little game, the love game or something. And he said, what can I do? Like, what would you like for me to do more of? And she said, say, I love you. And he said, I tell you, I love you all the time. She said, yeah. I said, say more. Right. So again, it's that perception. Right. We think because I say, oh, I love you, right, that's enough. People who need words of affirmation need more. They need more than just one a day compliment.
Right.
They may need more than you have been giving. So you say, oh, I give them compliments. They may need more. And that's where it goes to really trying to understand your mate's love language to the depth of what do they need? What does this mean to them? Not what does it mean to me, but what does it mean to them? How can I express that I truly love this person and so that they can feel loved and appreciated so that we can both be in this relationship with the reciprocation of love, right? We're giving that exchange of love. There's no shortage. There's no lack. So really being able to dive in deeper with your mate, once you find out what it is, how do I express that to you?
And you know what? And that reminds me of something. Like sometimes people think, hey, I hit my quota, right? I said
Exactly.
I love you,
right?
So I'm good for a couple of days. I tell you again, I love you.
Or I've given you something. I've done something. I met my quota.
All right. So, but like you said, sometimes people need a little bit more than that.
Especially if it's their love language.
Right. And sometimes we can just say it. We can say, I love you in the most unauthentic way of saying it.
I get you, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I love you.
Right.
And if you say it so much like that with no feeling, no emotion, it's falling on deaf ears. You don't feel it.
That takes me back to the beginning of our relationship. And we used to say that, right? I'd be like, oh, don't say you love me like that, because it got to a point where it was like, it was asking for a glass of water. Can I have a glass of water?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. You know, and
love you.
Love you. Right. And you're not even really thinking about the words.
You're not tying any emotions to it. You just, I love you.
Yep. All right, see you later. Love you. All right, see you later. Love. Instead of understanding that, hey, can I see your hand, baby? Even like taking the moment to touch and say, I really love you. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all that you do. That is the difference with the emotions.
Oh, that is much deeper.
Right, exactly. So let's not just say things in passing, but say it with meaning. Say it how we really feel it, or even say it how we want it to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. Will you help me with something?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So that's another one.
Yeah, this is the next one. Yeah. Will you help me with something? Your input / advice is always so good.
That's a good one.
Which is
making the person feel valued.
Right.
Yeah.
For your input.
Yeah.
It's valuable. I trust it. Right. So I'm asking for it.
Right.
Right.
And that makes a person feel like they're
So if I feel like then I'm contributing to you, if you really value what I say and my point of view.
Yeah, right.
So that means a lot too. I love you, multiple different ways and how deep you say it. And you asking for my advice or my view on something makes me feel like I'm really a part of your life.
Yeah, I could see how that would definitely speak the person's love language if it's words of affirmation.
Yeah, and then the next one is we work well together.
We work well together. Let's see. Do you think is that a good words of affirmation? We work well together.
We work well together.
It could be, because you have said that and I have said that. And I think it really does.
I think we need to say it like in the heat of the moment when it looks like we're not working well together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
like, hey, let's time out.
Right.
You know what?
We
work well together. Let's redo this. Let's rewind it. Let's change the narrative.
And that's for all the couples out there that's like maybe in business or doing something together as a team.
How about raising kids? You're always doing that as a team. How about a household? You're always doing that as a team. And that's true. That's the time you need to remember that you work well together when for some reason at that moment you're not working well together. Very good point. Very good point.
You are such an amazing husband or wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes me feel good just saying it. You're an amazing wife.
So these are some examples of what you could say if your mate's love language is words of affirmation. And so that's what we're doing. We're giving you examples in case, because people say, well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. There's always something. another way, like you said last week, another way to know is to listen to what your mate complains about. If they say, you never tell me you love me, you never say how much you care, you never appreciate anything I do, those are cues to you from your mate that they need words of affirmation. You need to tell them that you appreciate them. Right? Sometimes you feel like, well, if I'm paying the bills or I'm here every night or I'm doing this, that should show them. And it's not always about that. You have to speak the language of your mate. It's like when you're not doing that, like you said last week, it's like you're speaking Chinese and they're speaking Russian. You think you're communicating, you think you're getting your point across, and it's not. It's lost in translation. So you have to be able to, one, understand your mate's love language, and two, be able to speak it fluently and effectively.
There you
go. Some people say, do you speak English? Well, wait, do you speak English fluently?
Right. That's the key. And another thing is, this is why we struggle in our relationships.
Right.
Because we don't really have the skills to be prosperous in our relationship. Let me kind of fix my crown here.
Fix your crown.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have to learn these things. A lot of times we get married, we just do life, and we don't really understand what we're doing. And we just, as these problems come up, we just kind of deal with them, but we don't really know how. We need skills in order to move our relationships forward. That's how we progress in our marriage and our relationship and have closeness with the one that we love. So,
and I know we related, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know last week we related it to filling your car tank up. How far does your car, your tank of gas take you, right? 300, 400 miles, right? So let's put that into years.
Right.
How many times do you think you need to fill up your mate's love tank?
Right.
Right. You can't fill it up one time and think that's going to last you for the next 500 years together.
Right.
Right. Situations, circumstances come up. We have to continually fill up our love tanks.
Right.
We have to continually renew the love in our relationship so that it doesn't die, so that intimacy doesn't fade, so that we don't feel unappreciated, right? So these trials and tribulations don't wipe out our relationships.
That's right.
Right?
Right. All right. So, and the next one is, I am truly blessed that you're in my life. I am truly blessed that you are in my life.
I would definitely think that would be something to let your mate know that they're valued and to make them feel loved. Those words right there, if spoken to me in words of affirmation was my love language, I think that would definitely, fill me up to a quarter tank.
Of course it will. It'll put some gas in that baby now.
Yeah, I think so.
You can get some miles out of that one.
We just have to really be intentional in what we're doing in our relationships, because
intentional and skill. So the reason why we can't do better is because we don't know how. We don't have the skills to know how, right? This is what we're doing. We're helping them to recognize the skills, use the skills to make their marriage and relationship better. Right. Because your day-to-day has produced what you have now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so if you want something different, you got to do something different. And that's what we have to understand. So, and oftentimes, right, our motto is take your marriage off cruise control. Right. So what we have done is we've jumped in the car, we've pressed the cruise control button after we said I do, and it's just pretty much coasting. And now it was coasting, right, on cruise control, but now the gas tank, the gas light is now on. And so how far do you really think you're going to go?
We need some maintenance. I mean, we're low on oil. Tires need to be rotated. It's just a lot of things that need to happen.
Needs to happen in a relationship. You just cannot say I do, and then everything is just going to stay the same. No, everything needs maintenance. Tell me one thing in life that does not require maintenance. I'm going to get it.
No,
because
really.
every house needs maintenance, every car needs maintenance, your body needs maintenance, everything. So why do we think, even your job, right? Why do we think that relationships are the one area that we don't have to put the maintenance in?
Because we weren't taught. We were just taught to get married and that's it.
And we don't even think about it. So we have to search out. We have to seek out the things that are going to make our relationship thrive.
You don't seek help until you run into a situation.
Which is, most people don't, which is really sad.
Right.
And so hopefully that's why we're trying to take marriages off cruise control and get you before the car goes over the cliff.
All right. So now we're going to go into the words of affirmation don'ts.
Don'ts.
Don't do this.
All right.
You're using words of affirmation, but you're using it in a harsh tone.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I said I love you. Yeah. Definitely a no-no, right?
Yeah. So,
didn't you hear me? I already said I love you, right?
How many times you want me to tell you I love you? So,
yeah, you definitely see that going the wrong way.
All right. So words of affirmation, don't use insults and criticisms.
Yeah, so you think you want to hear something? I'm gonna tell you all the things you do wrong,
right?
Because you got word. Your love.
But I'm saying it in a loving way. Yeah, that don't work. That don't work.
Or some people don't even say it in a loving way, right? Well, you do all the wrong things. You do this. You the name calling, the blaming, right? The finger pointing. Those are not words of affirmation.
No.
So
those are words,
right? So we have to understand, right? That's what everything. There's the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, the mixture of the things to do.
Right.
This is where we have to really pull out, as they say, pull up our sleeves and get our hands dirty in our relationships to make them what we want them to be, because it really is satisfying when you have a relationship that's thriving.
Yep.
When you can actually smile at your mate and know that you genuinely feel love instead of hate, right? Or trying to find a way out. Yeah. Makes all the difference.
All right. So the next one is put down in front of other people, whether it be in a joking manner or whatever. If their language is words of affirmation,
they don't want to be the butt of the joke.
I mean, I don't think anyone really wants to be the butt of the joke, but especially.
But if your love language is words of affirmation, it hits harder.
Right.
It hits differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So just be careful of that. Mm-hmm. Never complimenting them or talking down to them. Got to be careful of that. You're never complimenting them, but you're saying, you know how you can talk down to somebody. I don't want to get into that because it's more of a negative.
Right.
You know what we mean.
Being aware that
your tone and how you talking down to them or at them.
At them instead of talking to them.
And you're never complimenting them on anything.
Nothing, no matter what they do.
Like if you made all the socks, you're like, yeah, but you left 2 over there, unmated. So we'll find something wrong all the time if they're looking for it. So
yeah, so we have to be careful with with any words.
Yeah. And then,
because words are powerful, but if words of affirmation is their love language,
it's even more powerful.
It hits really hard.
If it's used wrongly.
Yes.
All right, so the next one is saying thank you.
Never say thank you, huh?
Yeah, just saying thank you. Sometimes, I mean, like, it's simple, but it's like, oh, great.
A lot of people, we do take each other for granted.
We do.
And we don't say thank you.
We take mates, we take kids, we take people.
And it becomes a habit, and we do it all the way around.
We do it everywhere we go.
As a matter of fact, I was around some people, and they were like, oh, hey, so-and-so, can you do this?
Yeah.
And they didn't even say please, and they didn't say thank you.
Yep.
And I think when you do that, your attention is heightened. Mm-hmm. So I really do try my kids, people who I interact with, always try to say please and thank you.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do it, but I value the fact that you're willing to do it or that you have done it. Right. And I think that's what's important. Just because they're your mate and they've always done it or you feel as though they're supposed to do it, you still should say thank you.
You should.
Because it's the gratitude. It's the thank you for thinking enough of us or me to do it. Just thank you for your time, energy, and effort. Right? It's just, like I said, it's the little things. It's really the little things in our relationships that can, pick away at the foundation.
Yep.
So one day you go, how did this crack get in there?
Yep. You're wondering why people picking up their, packing their luggage and walking out of a relationship. And you're going, well, where did this come from? I thought we had a good relationship.
Yeah.
But that's another podcast. We're going to definitely talk about that.
Yeah, that's another
podcast. Yep. All right. So you have what?
All right. So now we're going to another love language?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into the love language of receiving gifts.
Okay.
What does that mean? So some people feel most loved when they receive tangible expressions of love, such as thoughtful gifts. It's not about the material value, but the thought and the effort behind the gift. So we have to understand some people's love language, how they feel loved, is by receiving gifts. So here are some examples. And we have to remember, not all gifts have to be expensive.
True.
It's not about money. Picking flowers, right? So you're on your way home. You see, hopefully your neighbor's flowers, and you can just pick one, not all the time, or whatever, right? Or you can buy one.
Right.
You can go in, a lot of stores now, sell roses cheaply.
Yeah,
You can just
buy a single rose.
Go buy a single rose, a dozen of roses that don't cost you much. It's the thought.
Yep.
It's the thought. And even if you
without it being a special occasion, just doing
exactly. It's because I love you.
Yep.
And that's what we have to understand. Speaking your mate's love language is about doing it every day so that they know that they're loved and appreciated. Another example would be purchasing their favorite snack or cheat food.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because sometimes we have that food that's, I can only eat this once a month or what,
Right.
because it's
something we love, but we know we shouldn't have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So purchasing something like that, right? Just being in the store, walking down the aisle, what would my mate like? You're going grocery shopping, buy something special, whatever. Not something that would say you need to lose weight, but something that they would like. Another example would be something small that would complement what they already have. So let's say I have a necklace. You can buy a pair of earrings.
Yes.
Right? Or you have earrings, you can buy a bracelet.
Yes.
Something small, something that just says, hey, I was thinking about you.
You already have.
Yeah, I was thinking about you.
Yep.
Understanding that their language is to receive gifts. Another thing is a gift card to their favorite store. So these are just some examples, right?
Right.
If you know they like Garrett's popcorn, you can buy a gift card. Or you know they like to go shopping, you can buy a Visa card. It could be $10. It doesn't matter the amount. It just matters that the thought behind it.
Yeah.
Another thing could be tickets to the movies, right? So let's say you want to go to the movies.
Right.
And I know in Chi-Town, we call it to the show. So let's say you want to go to the movies. Instead of just say, hey, let's go to the movies, buy the 2 tickets, print out the receipt if you bought it online, wrap it up, and give it to your mate if their love language is gifts. So you wanted to go, but you make it look like a gift. Yeah. And so now they've received a gift and they're thinking, now we get to spend a date night together. We got to think. We got to think beyond. We got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
We have to do things that.
It's about the presentation.
It is. And it's about the fact that your mate is going to say, wow, they thought enough of us or us as our relationship or me to do this. It's what they're feeling. When you give them a gift, think about what is your intention behind the gift? Do you want them to feel a certain way? Right? So that's why you're doing it. You're doing it to create that connection through love. I'm going to speak your love language. That's the whole intention of it. All right, let's talk about some don'ts.
Okay.
So, all right. So what don't do is missing special occasions without a gift.
Oh.
If your mate's love language is receiving gifts.
That's a no-no.
And it's their birthday.
Oh.
And your excuse is that I don't have any money. You had 12 months from the last birthday to save up.
Yeah. You could have just went and wrote a card or something.
You could sit down old school, what we used to tell the kids to do, right? Get crayons. And I think that's cute. I think some people appreciate a card that you actually spend some time.
Yeah.
Right? You spend some time doing it.
Yep.
Probably the worse it looks, the nicer it would be. It would be cute, right? Draw little hearts. So we have to kind of remember, don't miss occasions.
Yep.
Their love language
right. If it's their love language.
It's their love. Christmas, Valentine's Day.
You don't have to break the bank.
Hey, sometimes the 4th of July, buy them a 4th of July shirt.
There you go.
Right? Anything. The dollar store has stuff. Go buy them a little flag.
Yep.
We're the $1.25 store right now, but we can always find something. Even as, like I said before, like the candy bar, right? Buying it and putting a bow on and say, hey, I was thinking about you. What not to do is saying that you just bought or gave them something. So it's Christmas. So let's just say it's Christmas. Their birthday's in January. You say, well, I don't have any money. I just bought you the gift for Christmas. I just did this. That's a no-no.
Yeah, you could do something cheap, though.
That's a no-no.
I won't say cheap, inexpensive, but thoughtful. Thoughtful is more important than expensive.
Absolutely. But if they have the money, go all out. So, but we have to remember that that's a no-no.
Yeah.
If your mates, and the goal of tonight is to figure out what is your love language and your mate's love language. So you want to make sure that you do not do stuff. Oh, I just did that. That's a no-no. Another no-no is not giving because you feel it has to be expensive, right?
Yep.
And not thoughtful.
Yep.
So you don't give because you're like, I don't have any money to give. So you don't give because you think that the gift has to be expensive. It does not.
And the person that didn't receive the gift, which is their love language, thinks that you don't think enough of them.
That you don't
to
care.
give them a gift
Yep.
of any type.
And that may not even be the case. And that right there can start a whole different
Yep.
ball of confusion
Yep.
and argument and resentment. Because the first thing they're going to say is, did you know he or she didn't buy me a gift for X, Y, and Z? That's the first thing they're going to say. Did you know that she didn't even have enough nerve to buy me something? Because they can't understand it. We have to understand a love language is the way they feel loved and appreciated. Can't say that enough.
Nope.
It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about speaking the language of your mate through love to make them feel loved and appreciated. All right?
All right. So then we're going to go to quality time.
Quality time. I love quality time.
Oh, you do. That is your love language. All right.
That's one of them.
Yeah,
I have the top two.
Okay, cool.
Should we do a quiz? Do you know my love
Oh,
language?
no, we're definitely not going to do a quiz. I don't do well with pop quizzes.
All right. Let's go on to quality time then.
All right, quality time involves giving someone your undivided attention. People with this love language appreciate meaningful conversations and shared experiences. So it's about undivided attention.
You know, it's funny because I've heard people say, wow, we had a good conversation. Or some people say, wow, the conversation just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right. So it is, when I'm listening to your definition, you said meaningful conversation, which means that if their love language is quality time and they say, and you're spending time with them and they say, how was your day? They don't want, oh, it was fine. They want what? A meaningful conversation. Yeah.
All right, let me give you some examples here.
All right.
Have a night, or I'd say once a week, where you guys get together and cook a meal together.
Okay, that's a good way to have quality time. Yeah.
That's teamwork. It's quality time. It's conversation.
Keeping the connection.
Yeah.
Sharing the load of responsibilities. I mean, there's so many things in one.
There you go. Set up a private spa and give each other massages and pedicures.
That sounds good.
That does sound good. Actually, I had one of those. I appreciate that. I did.
I did. I gave you the whole day, the whole 9 yards.
You sure did. And you post a lot of that on Facebook.
I did.
Yep.
And some of it I didn't. I'm not real good, but yep, that was a good time.
Yep.
All right. What else?
Do things together that you would typically not have time for.
Okay.
And be attentive. Don't be in a hurry to spend quality time.
Right.
So don't be in a hurry to spend quality time with each other. So, like, again, you get agitated. Like, okay, we've been sitting here for 10 minutes, so we should be good now. Can we go and do something else? So be attentive. And because all the time we don't have time. Like, maybe say during the week we're working, we're busy, we're doing other things. We don't have time. So when you have time, be fully available for your spouse.
Okay.
For the time you have. And then the next one is...
These are examples, right?
Yeah, examples. Okay.
Okay.
Just make sure you do things that your mate enjoys.
Right. So quality time can't be something that you enjoy. Hey,
right.
It has to be something that your mate
come
enjoys.
Over here. I want to go hang out with the guys. And
I want you
their
to
wives are going to be there. So
Right.
come go with me. We can spend some quality time together. That may not be the case.
Right. So you have to do something. So quality time has to be being with your mate, but also doing something that they enjoy.
For sure.
And that's what we have to understand. We can't just, quality time, I'm going to be here, right? We're going to go here. We're going to do that. We have to understand how to speak that language.
Yep.
How do they hear, love? How do they hear love through that quality time?
And that's why we're here talking about this so they can understand. Make sure you have a clear understanding of the person's love language, because you may say, like I said before, the quality time, you go hang out with a bunch of other people, and because there may be couples involved, you think that's quality time. And that person's version of quality time
is
may
just
be
you and them. It could be a bunch of people, but you have
to make sure that's clear.
Know. Right. That's what I said.
And you have to have an understanding that that's what it is.
Absolutely.
All right, so now let's get into the don'ts.
Don't.
All right, so quality time. Do not being distracted while your spouse is talking. Being distracted while your spouse is talking, like doing something else, like looking at your phone. That's the number one thing. Looking at your phones, that's just...
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Or being there, not being there. Like you're listening, but your head and your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, been there too.
And then it's like, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Like, I'm here. I heard what you said.
And I think that's why you and I, that was one of our things that we noticed that when we go out to eat, we take our phones and we make sure that we don't pay attention to them.
That's right.
That's right. All right.
All right. So not listening or hearing what they are saying. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is a kicker.
Okay.
Postponing date nights and events. Postponing date nights and events.
So if
you have something on the calendar and their love language is quality time, make sure
that's a top priority.
And nothing outside of an emergency should come into play and make you change that date.
That's right.
That's a hard date. That's a hard time on your calendar. You have to show them that you love them.
All right. So what's another thing not to do?
Don't get caught up in the whole watching Netflix and chill every night. Talking about you're
doing love languages, right? That's
right. You're doing quality time.
Right.
When you're doing it too much.
All right.
All right. So then let's go ahead and move on into
physical touch.
Yep.
All right. So what is physical touch? It can be the primary love language for most individuals. This can include hugs, kisses, soft touches, rubbing, holding hands, and any form of physical affection. So let's go into some examples. So, physical touch. This person's idea of a perfect date night includes cuddling on the couch with a glass of wine and a good movie. Hold their hands often. Sneak a kiss randomly. Hold your spouse's hand while you pray together. Always greet them with a kiss. Or put your hand on their leg or their arm when you're sitting next to them. Those are examples of physical, right, to show physical affection for physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do some do nots.
Okay.
These are my things. So let's go into the do nots of physical touch.
Yep.
So don't just think that their love language is physical touch, it means sex. It does not.
Okay.
And don't think because you like sex that physical touch means sex. It doesn't. So what not to do? Neglecting efforts to cuddle, give hugs, hold their hand, or touch in non-sexual ways. Non-sexual manners can feel unloving to your mate, not being the one to initiate the physical touch. These are all the things to avoid when your spouse's love language is physical touch. Instead, go out of your way to share meaningful touch often.
Yep. We got something over there, commentator.
All right, commentator.
Going back to quality time, we agree quality time needs to be an activity that would ignite your mate's love language. Create a list of quality time activities you can do together.
Very good. Thank you, Sledge House. See, look at us. Our channel has got good people who got good marriages and is giving good advice. Look at that. Thank you, Sledge House. So, guys, use that advice. Make a list. That way you don't have to guess.
Yep.
All right. So, another thing that it is not is rejection when they, so what not to do is rejection when they initiate physical touch. If your spouse reaches out for a hug or to hold your hand or some other form of touch and receive a rejection, this is a bad thing. Be willing to give your spouse an extra long hug when they need it, even if it feels inconvenient. Hold their hand in public. And when they're feeling insecure, accept and embrace your spouse's acts of love because that's how they give it because that's what they want to receive. Another thing is misinterpreting physical touch as wanting sex. It's not. Okay. Not willing to touch because it makes you feel sexual and you don't want to be rejected by your mate. So that's a no-no. If your mate's love language is physical touch and you don't want to touch because you don't want to get aroused, you better learn a way to do it. You better make as Sledge House, you better make a list of 5 things that you can touch without making you aroused. Right?
You mentioned Sledge House. That make me think of Eddie.
That
10-second rule.
All right, Eddie in the 10-second rule.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing not to do is not understanding or wanting to take the time to ask, explore, and be intentional in learning how to speak your mate's love language so that they feel loved and appreciated. And another thing not to do, and the last one is thinking that you know what physical touch means, so you give them what you think they want and need. That's a no-no.
That could be a problem.
I
can see that.
All right. So remember, all of these love languages have to be spoken in the manner that your mate
wants
to receive love. It's not what you think the interpretation means, and we're funneling through our understanding, because if it's not our love language, we don't know what that means. So we have to be able to have these conversations, as Sledge House recommended. And I would, even with quality time, I would say with any of these love languages, make a list of things, ask your mate. You know, after you take the quiz and you find out what your love language is and your mate's love language, take a moment for each of you guys to write down 5 things that you feel loved by your mate doing. That right there would clear up a lot of misunderstanding.
Oh, it sure would.
All right. So let's do a recap.
Yep, let's do a quick recap.
Oh, so I'm going to do a recap, and then you can tell them where they can get the quiz.
Okay, cool.
All right. So remember that there are 5 love languages. And I'm going to scroll through these and see if I can get them. So it's words of affirmation, receiving gifts, personal touch,
acts of service,
and
physical touch.
I think I said physical touch. I missed one.
Quality time.
Quality time. How could you?
Right.
So those are the 5 love languages.
Yep.
Okay. And so sometimes people may have 2 love languages at the top. So it can be bilanguage, right? Bilingual. They'll be bilingual in their love language, which means that sometimes they're feeling this, sometimes they're feeling that. But it's important to be able to speak both of them to them. All right. So the recap is, take the time to figure out what is your love language, what is your mate's love language, how do you speak that language, what not to do when speaking that language, and then make sure that what can make it simple, as Sledge House recommended, making a list.
Making a list.
Make a list. And the important thing is to try to incorporate it in your relationship every single day, because every day we need to be loved and appreciated. If we're not feeling loved one day, sometimes that can make a difference. It snowballs.
It does.
And then if we feel unloved, we can look at everything else that's going on around us, and then we can pull the judgment, even though it may be the wrong judgment. We can start taking things around us that happen as an unloving manner. And now we've kind of blown things out of proportion, as opposed to trying to duplicate love. Love is harmonious, and love keeps it, I'm losing my words. It multiplies.
That's
there
right.
you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Love multiplies.
Love multiplies.
Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the link at the bottom of the video here, and for the profile, so you can go and take the test, and just the profile test, and just see where you stand. Knowledge is power. And even more powerful is applied knowledge. So we're going to give you something so you can take the test, find out where
Take the quiz.
Find out. Yeah, quiz is much better than a test.
Take the quiz to just figure it out.
Yeah. But like I said, applied knowledge. So you're going to get this knowledge, find out where your mate.
I'm sorry. I don't even think it's a quiz. I don't even know how you call it, but just.
It's a profile test.
It's a profile.
Take a profile. It's just
whatever.
a profile.
Okay.
Right. All right. But they call it a quiz. But either way, it's something quick and easy.
Yes.
There's no wrong answers, but it's knowledge. You want to know where you stand. You want to know where your mate stands. So then that way you can better help your relationship and know what your mate need and what you need. So a lot of times we don't know what we need, right? So this is a way to start to find out what we need, what our mate needs, and then that's going to help us with what our relationship needs.
And I think for those of us who may, like you said, we don't know what we need, or maybe we don't know how to express what we need.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So this helps us to kind of get a different perspective and saying, hey, when you look at your results and say, hey, my love language is acts of service. I would have never thought that. And so now you can actually be able to express to your mate what you may need.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So, guys, that wraps it up for us. Remember, you can catch us here every Friday.
Except for the last 2 weeks.
Except on holidays.
Right.
So
holidays,
the last 2 Fridays of this month, we will be on holiday.
Yes.
So other than that, you can catch us here live on Friday for live conversations. Please, this is for any of our viewers to ask questions, to engage, to get involved.
Right.
Give us your opinion. Give us exercises and techniques that maybe you use. This is a community. We're trying to build relationships and build marriages and make them better. Take them off cruise control and be divorce busters. That's
right.
what we are, right? We are on a mission.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so I think that's it. Is there anything else?
I think that's it. Don't forget to like, share, spread the word. Spread the world. Spread the word.
Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Right.
Also, we have the competition going on for our super fan.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we take a tally of anyone who shares our post, shares our stories, and shares our reels. We keep a tally of them. And then we, at the end of the month, we give you a gift. We give you a prize for being our super fan. So spread the word. Not only can you share, like, and subscribe, but you can also share all of our real stories and posts and then get a prize from Legendary Relationship and Loving Beyond the I Do podcast.
That's right. It's nothing like, especially if your love language is receiving gifts.
That's right. That's
Good
right.
way to receive a gift.
So we are the dynamic duo in marriage. And as always,
we're in it to win it. Till next week, guys.
Love you.
Have a blessed one.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.